So, good morning, students. Today, I'll be coming through the topic that is circulation of blood in human heart. Okay, so how the blood flows in the human heart, especially in the mammals, we will discuss. So in the mammals, there are four chambers. As you know, all the structures of the heart. So let's see how the blood flows in the human heart. So how the blood flow takes place in the human heart. So first we have to label the parts of the heart structure. This is pulmonary artery. This is pulmonary vein. And here bicuspid valve. This is also called mitral valve. And this is called, this one, the main artery, that's called aorta. And this is tricuspid valve. And this you already know, the partition between the atria and the ventricles, that is septum. Now, two more blood vessels I did not need, that is your inferior vena cava and here superior vena cava. So these are the veins that enters the heart, that is the opening of the heart. Now there are four chambers in the mammals as you have studied. Right atria, right ventricle, left atria, left ventricle. Now let's see how the blood flows in the human heart. In short, I will be explaining. The blood which is deoxygenated from the body parts. The deoxygenated blood will enter through the superior vena cava from the upper parts of the body. The blood which is coming from the head, nose, chest, upper limbs. So from there the blood has entered through superior vena cava. And the blood which is coming from the lower parts of the body, that is lower limbs, stomach, abdomen, all this the blood will come from the lower parts. So that will enter through inferior vena cava. So the blood which has entered through superior and inferior vena cava, that will enter into renal artery. Okay, that will enter into right atria. So this is RA full form, that is right atria, and RV means right ventricle, and left atria, that is LA, we call left atria, then left ventricle, and atria is also called auricle also. Another name of scientific name is auricle. Now see the flow of blood in human heart. The blood which has come from the upper parts and the lower parts, it has entered through superior and inferior vena cava to the right atria. Now the blood is filled inside this right atria. Okay. Now as the right atria is filled with the blood, there is no more capacity of the right atria to hold the blood. So what happens here? The tricuspid valve, it will open up. Okay, tricuspid valve will open and the blood will flow into the right ventricle. So this shows that in the beginning stage of the flow of blood in the human heart, the atrias contract. So when the atrias contract, ventricles relax. Okay, and when the atrias relax, ventricles contract. Okay, this concept you must be knowing. So at the start of the blood flow, in the first stage, that is these two atrias, they will contract, the upper two chambers. So the blood flows into the right ventricle. Now the right ventricle, the blood with human blood, that will be filled in the what we call right ventricle. So what happens in this valve? This cuspid valves means they are called, cuspid means pockets. Okay, so they have look like a pockets. Okay, so when the blood is filled here, when the right ventricle what we call is able to receive the blood from the right atria, it opens up. But when the right ventricle is no more able to hold the blood, this tricuspid valve will tighten up. We try to tighten up here. They puff up and tighten up. So when it puffs up and tighten up, the openings of the pulmonary artery, here one opening and here second opening from the ventricles. So these are the two openings we call semilunar valves. The semilunar valves, that is pulmonary artery valve and the aortic valve. These two valves, they will open up. Okay, as the tricuspid and bicuspid valve closes. So when this closes, this will automatically the semilunar valves will open up. Okay, because these valves are facing towards the what we call the opening of the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So these valves, due to the pressure from the right ventricle, it opens up and the blood will pass to this from the right ventricle through pulmonary artery and it goes to the various, that is left lungs and right lungs. Okay, so up to here we call this as a pulmonary circulation. So there are two types of circulation, that is pulmonary and systemic circulation. Pulmonary and systemic circulation. Pulmonary circulation means it is related to the lungs. The blood has traveled from right ventricles through the pulmonary artery. It has reached the various lungs, okay, left lungs and right lungs. So up to here we call it as the pulmonary circulation. So blood flows twice in the heart, we have heard. So that is because of this two types. It is circulating twice in the heart. That is once through the pulmonary system and second is through the systemic pulmonary systemic circulation. So these two types of circulation are there, okay. So first is going to the lungs and it comes back to the heart once again and then go back to the body parts, then return back to the heart. So twice it is circulating. So I am focusing now, it is the blood of flow blood in the human heart. Now the blood which has flown through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, okay. So this what blood which has been which were deoxygenated has been become oxygenated because of the alveoli in the lungs. The alveoli is mainly for absorbing the what we call carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygen, okay. So this lungs is mainly for exchange of gases. When you breathe in, the alveoli will absorb the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide when you breathe out. So when the blood from the heart reaches the lungs, there will be exchange of gases. The blood will again become oxygenated. So as soon as the blood becomes oxygenated, it enters through pulmonary vein and reaches to the left atria. When it reaches the left atria, the bicuspid valve, okay, bicuspid valve closes because of the tightening of the bicuspid valve, because the valve is filled here in the left atria. Now as the no more capacity to hold the blood, now this bicuspid valve, it will open up, okay, it will open up and the blood will push into the left ventricle. And these valves are connected with the what we call chordae tendineae. This is called like the cords of the parachute. This is chordae tendineae. Chordae tendineae connects the valve with the papillary muscles which are found in the ventricles, okay. Here also there is what we call chordae tendineae. These two valves, tricuspid and bicuspid valve, are connected with the papillary muscles of the ventricles. So what is the use of this valve? This valve, first, the blood has flown into the ventricles, so clearing the passage here because of the bicuspid valve, the condition of the bicuspid valve. Now the left ventricles will be, when the blood is flown from left atria to left ventricle is in relaxed state, okay, and left atria is which state? That is tightening we call it as the contraction, okay. So when this is contracting, this will be relaxing. So opposite thing will happen here, okay. So once the blood has reached the left ventricle, now it has filled more. So what happens here? The valve of the bicuspid valve, which is between the left atria and left ventricle, this tightens, fills up, they get fills, these pockets, they are pockets like structure, so they fill up with the blood, okay. When it is filled with the blood, this puffs up. So as it puffs up, the chordae tendineae, which is connected with the valves, this will prevent the overturning of blood back into the atria. So this is the main role of valves, okay. And now the blood has reached the left ventricle, the final state. From the left ventricle, there is one blood vessel, that is aorta. Okay, this main artery, so this aorta, it has to push the blood into further parts of the body, whole parts of the body. So the blood which has been in the left ventricle, now the cellular valve here, aortic valve, will try to open here. Okay, so when it opens up, it clears the passage for the blood to enter through aorta, and it goes back to the different parts of the body. So soon after reaching the different parts of the body, again that was oxygenated blood, and this oxygenated blood will come back again after all the activities done in the digestive system or any excretory system. Blood has been utilized. So the blood now, because of the cell respiration, carbon dioxide has been released more in the blood, and oxygen has been utilized during their activities. So the blood becomes deoxygenated again. The deoxygenated blood again will return back. The aorta which has gone, from the aorta, the blood, it goes to the what we call other parts of the body. Let me show you. This blood from the aorta, this will come to the, is called through artery. Through artery, it will enter respective organs like kidney, stomach, intestine, all this, and it will go back to the heart. Okay, go back to the heart through superior and inferior vena cava to back to the heart. So here we can say the oxygenated blood. Okay, then in various organs there are capillaries. So near the capillaries there will be what we call the blood exchange will take place. Carbon dioxide will be taken and oxygen will be given to the cells for respiration. Now the blood will return back to the heart as what we call deoxygenated blood. So this is whole circulatory system. I have already discussed in the earlier class about the circulatory system. So when you understand what is circulatory system, then you can understand blood flow of blood in the human heart. Okay. So this is the basic conduction of human heart. Now the last question. And one thing you keep in mind, this does not go directly back to the heart. In hepatic portal system, you will understand, before it enters the heart, the liver has to detoxify the blood. Okay, so that was discussed in hepatic portal system in that video. Now you see here the how much time has taken during atria and ventricle contraction and the joint diastole. Here okay, that will be discussed, we will discuss in the cardiac cycle, okay, in the next video, because it will be very long video. So thank you students, have a good day. I hope you understood the flow of blood in the human heart. It's a very